Hello, thanks for joining us again on the channel. I've always been curious about this one, and now that a friend picked one up, we can finally talk about it. His experience, start to finish. Quick note before we begin. There's a discount link in the description and the top comment if you want to check it out. Now let's not waste any more time and jump right into the details.
Now, let's hear directly from our first reviewer about their experience.
This reviewer initially had a frustrating experience with this monitor. The first unit they received was disappointingly dim right out of the box. It turns out this was due to some aggressive power saving and automatic brightness features being enabled by default, which required a deep dive into the settings to disable. A more persistent issue was a noticeable high-pitched coil whine coming from the built-in USB ports, especially when the screen was idle. This distracting noise was a significant flaw, and while some online fixes were suggested, they didn't work for this particular unit. It was a constant annoyance that detracted from the otherwise promising display. Thankfully, the story took a positive turn when our reviewer acquired a second, more recently manufactured version of the same monitor. This client was happy to report that the manufacturer seems to have addressed both of the major complaints from earlier batches. The new unit is perfectly bright from the moment it's turned on, as those dimming features are now switched off by default. More importantly, the irritating coil whine is completely gone, resulting in a perfectly silent operation that was missing from the initial model. It seems the company listened to feedback from early adopters and made some crucial improvements to their production line. With these critical flaws resolved, the monitor's best qualities can finally shine. Our reviewer praised its highly versatile stand, which offers full adjustment for height, tilt, and rotation while taking up minimal desk space thanks to its clever, thin-base design. They feel this revised version is an excellent piece of hardware, even holding its own against much pricier alternatives on the market. While they are still hoping for a resolution for their older, flawed unit, they now highly recommend this monitor to others, so long as it's one of the newer, corrected versions.
Alright, let's find out what our next reviewer has to share.
This reviewer found this monitor to offer an unbeatable value, packing a set of features that are hard to come across without a significant jump in cost. The main draws for this client, who has a background in IT, were the sharp 4K resolution, the convenience of a single cable USB-C connection for video and power, surprisingly loud built-in speakers, and an integrated USB hub. Upon setting it up with a MacBook Pro, our reviewer was immediately impressed by the visual quality. The screen is beautiful, holding its own even when placed side by side with the laptop's high-end display. After some initial fiddling with the settings and disabling the eco mode for better brightness, the colors were fantastic. A key point of interest was the performance of the built-in USB hub when the display was set to a high refresh rate. While some users reported a slowdown, this client found that on a Mac, the ports maintained their fast USB 3.0 speeds. Curiously, when connected to a Windows laptop, the ports did slow down to USB 2.0 speeds at the same refresh rate, an inconsistency our reviewer couldn't quite explain. However, the experience wasn't without its quirks. A persistent issue with MacBooks was the monitor's tendency to wake itself up every few minutes after the computer went asleep, forcing a manual power off. The undermounted control buttons were also described as annoying, though one can get used to them over time. Similarly, while the speakers are impressively loud and clear for a monitor, the volume could not be controlled from the Mac itself. Despite these minor frustrations, the overall satisfaction with this display is very high, as it offers a combination of features that is difficult to find elsewhere at its level.
Great! Now let's see what our next reviewer has to say about their experience.
This reviewer was really impressed with this monitor, especially the USB-C connectivity. Our reviewer mentioned how seamlessly it powers and charges their MacBook Air, and that they can also plug their iPad Pro directly into it. They highlighted the convenience of using the USB ports on the back for peripherals like a wireless keyboard and mouse dongle, as well as a USB-A Ethernet adapter for a dedicated wired connection. This client emphasized the all-in-one functionality of USB-C. They questioned why other monitors still rely on HDMI or DisplayPort, when a single USB-C cable can handle power delivery to the laptop, audio, video output, data transfer, and peripheral connections. They also saw this as a big plus for shared workspaces or users with multiple computers, because you can just plug in a USB-C and everything works instantly. Initially, the screen brightness was a letdown, but after disabling the iCare strain setting in eco mode, the monitor became super bright. The 4K resolution impressed the reviewer, with crisp details and vibrant colors. However, they noted that the HDR setting dimmed the screen too much, so they chose not to use it. They also appreciated the adjustable stand, because they believe that everyone should have the option to adjust their monitor to the optimal height, even if they don't want to buy an aftermarket mount. Our reviewer also mentioned that the packaging included HDMI and USB-C cables, along with the power cord. Aesthetically, they found this display to be sleek and professional, with a thin bezel that looks great on their desk. They even hinted at potentially adding a second one for an expanded setup. Overall, the reviewer recommends this monitor for anyone seeking a streamlined, one-stop display solution.
That's a wrap. If you enjoyed this, drop a like and subscribe for more. Got thoughts? Let's chat in the comments. See you in the next one.